Good morning, everyone. I've got to say, it's really good to see everybody. It's Friday, and we're here in person, which is a real blessing. So thanks for being here today. As Justin said, my name is Dave Kofer, and I currently serve as the Director of Partnerships and Programs here at Columbus State. And it's really my pleasure and privilege to have the opportunity to facilitate what I hope is a really informative and enjoyable conversation today with our five panelists. Before we get to the panel, I'd like to open with some foundational thoughts. So you're here today at this event called Be in Demand. So what does that even mean, right? To be in demand? Well, it can mean that you're highly sought after. It could mean that you're highly desired, even popular. In practical terms, and we talk about this region, the Columbus region, we're talking about employment opportunities, more importantly, careers, with a great deal of opportunity awaiting those, meaning you all, that choose the path that leads to these in-demand professions and industries. And when we talk about industries, which specifically are we talking about? Well, for purposes of today's discussion, we're going to be concentrating on the areas of manufacturing, information technology, healthcare, and STEM more broadly. Okay, great. So you know what industries we're talking about. So what types of jobs are available within Ohio right now within any one of these areas? Great question. So let me share with you a little bit about what I found. I took a look at Ohio's top jobs list, which is made available by the state of Ohio's Governor's Office of Workforce Transformation. In the area of healthcare, job titles on the list included respiratory therapists, radiologic technologists, diagnostic medical sonographers, and dental hygienists. In the area of manufacturing and engineering technology, there were job titles that included mechanical engineering technician, electromechanical technicians, and electrical and electronic engineering technicians. Lastly, in IT, there were job titles that include web developers, computer network support specialists, software developers in the areas of applications, and information security analysts. For each of the job titles I just shared, the median annual salary was $50,000 a year. Every day, Columbus State students and graduates break through barriers, and in doing so, gain access to the types of career opportunities I just shared. For our minoritized students, there are barriers that are very real. They manifest themselves in the form of systemic racism, implicit bias, microaggressions, and stereotyping. Today, we've assembled an amazing group of panelists that when confronted by these very real challenges, they didn't quit. Rather, they persevered, demonstrating the resilience required to overcome the obstacles placed before them. They are here today to share their perspective and offer advice about how to rise up into a position of being in demand. During today's discussion, it is our hope that you'll learn more about their educational and work-based learning paths and what it takes to break into a well-paying and fulfilling career. Let's take a moment to meet them. I would ask that you hold your applause until we introduce everybody, okay? So let's start to my far right. Harvey West. Harvey is a 2021 graduate of Columbus State, having earned his degree in mechanical engineering technology. While Harvey was at Columbus State, he participated in the Modern Manufacturing Work-Study program. He now works full-time as a maintenance technician at Abercrombie & Fitch. To Harvey's immediate left is Thyanne Garcia. Thyanne is a current Columbus State student slated to graduate in spring of 2023. She is pursuing her AAS degree in nutrition and dietetics and a dietary manager certificate. She is currently employed as a pharmacy technician in a retail pharmacy setting. Outside the classroom, Thyanne is involved as an HCOP National Ambassador, Student Engagement and Inclusion Columbus State Student Ambassador, Phi Theta Kappa Vice President of Scholarship, Learning Guild member of the National Society of Leadership, and Success and Career Mentorship Program mentee, just to name a few. To Thyanne's left is Om Borkar. Om began his studies at Columbus State while he was still in high school and leveraged his time here as the foundation of continuing his education at Ohio State, where he's now a full-time student pursuing a degree in software engineering. While at Columbus State, Om was a participant in the IT Flexible Apprenticeship Program, which you heard about in the video, where he worked for State Auto, also highlighted in the video. State Auto is now Liberty Mutual. You might be familiar with their commercials. And was also a Choose Ohio First Scholar. Om continues to intern at Liberty Mutual today. To Ohm's left is Kalita Mingolati. Kalita is a 2020 graduate of Columbus State, having earned her degree in software development. While at Columbus State, she also participated in the IT Flexible Apprenticeship Program. Through that program, she earned an apprenticeship at State Auto. Following her graduation from Columbus State and completion of her apprenticeship, Kalita chose to continue her education at Western Governors University. And not long after, she secured full-time position with Accenture, where she recently celebrated her one-year work anniversary. And to my immediate right, Michael Foy Armstead. Michael is a 2020 graduate of Columbus State, having earned his AS degree. Following graduation, Michael accepted a full-time offer of employment with Procter & Gamble and transferred to a physics program at The Ohio State University. Since that time, Michael has relocated to Cincinnati. He is still employed with P&G and is continuing his education at the University of Cincinnati, where he is majoring in data analytics. While at Columbus State, Michael is also highly engaged in campus life and was a participant in programs that included STEM Club, LSAMP, Future Scientists of Ohio, and Campus Ambassadors. Again, just to name a few. Would you please welcome our panelists? All right, so let me just kind of outline our flow for things here this morning, right? So we've got some prepared questions. I think we'll take 20 minutes or so to go through those, and then we would love to hear from all of you, all right? So please be thinking about your questions along the way. Harvey, we're going to get started with you, if that's all right. Mm-hmm. So, Harvey, making the transition from high school to college can be challenging, as can making the decision to return to college after being in the workplace. In both instances, it's important that you feel supported. Harvey, you found that support at Columbus State. Can you share with us your journey to Columbus State, as well as some of the examples of where you felt supported along the way?
Sure. I guess my biggest concern was the fact that I wanted to be workforce ready, which is something that you heard in the video. So I knew about the programs that Columbus State offered, the apprenticeships, and for instance, I was involved in the Modern Manufacturing Work-Study program. And that program was important to me because it meant that there's a bunch of employers in the city, in Columbus, that come to Columbus State and they speak to the faculty and they tell them exactly the skills that they're looking for. And so the companies partner with Columbus State, and then I knew that if I was enrolled in that program, that everything or every class that I took was going to give me skills that once I graduated would have helped me in whatever company that I would have hopefully been hired onto. So I knew that my time was going to be well spent. It was going to be short because it's a 2-year degree. And most importantly, like I said, I just wanted to be able to get out and get working and have everything that I needed to succeed. And the support came from the fact that I had advisors, resume help, everything I needed that really I didn't have to do or figure out anything on my own. I had the support to build myself up while I was in school and then be ready to hit the ground running once the internship opportunity came along.
Harvey, quick follow-up question to that. When we were speaking in preparation for today, we talked a little bit about how, there was a plan to graduate, things got delayed a little bit, but that all worked itself out in the end. Can you talk a little bit about how that was facilitated? Yeah,
that goes back to the support structure. So what Dave is referring to is that when I was about to graduate, I was already in my internship. And I thought that I found out that I had to take an extra semester of classes just because of how things in life were working out. And I thought that that was going to be a big deal. But turns out, again, what I thought was a mountain ended up being something that got resolved in about 30 seconds because all that happened was I talked to my advisors here at Columbus State, told them what the situation was, and they said that's no big deal. A lot of people have that issue, or that it's just something that's not a big deal. But because I was already working at Abercrombie, I talked to my supervisor and my HR representative. And again, because of how the Modern Manufacturing Work-Study program works, my supervisor at work was in contact with everybody at Columbus State. So once I spoke to everybody and everybody communicated with each other, everybody basically just looked at me and went, it's no big deal. Everything will be all right. So
everything is going to be all right.
Yeah, and everything turned out great.
Great. Thank you, Harvey. Diane, I'd like to pose this next question to you. When we think about our futures, it's hard sometimes not to feel overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed when I think about my future. Will we be ready? What if our hopes and dreams for the future are not realized? How do I know that the future I've envisioned for myself will even make me happy? When we talked, you spoke about how your past can help propel you into the future. Would you mind sharing with us more about that?
Well, I have to start with the past propelling you to your future. You need to think about your positives, your negatives, and your mediocre. Basically, your negatives are the things that you had difficulty going through, and maybe you overcame them. And maybe that should be a reason to propel you to your future. So when you do have a negative come up, and that was from your past, and you overcame that, I would say that that should help you to keep pushing you despite what happens. And I have an example for that. I used to go to college, not from CSCC, and I was actually a nursing major. And practically what happened was I got all the grades and everything, but it wasn't good for me. Like, the support wasn't there, my health was going down, everything was not good. And then I ended up taking a year off and withdrawing from those classes. I was a year and a half in, and it was difficult. But when those things happened, you have to realize that even though bad things happen to you, you have to use that bad thing to propel you to redeem that time that you lost. So it's not really wasted time. You can say it's wasted time when something wrong happens to you, but you can also say, like, hey, I'm not gonna make that time a waste. I'm gonna push forward and do something about it. And then I came to Columbus State Community College, and one of the great things that Columbus State Community College did was they had lots of support. Everyone's really nice. They have lots of people that help you out. There's tutoring services, there's advisors, mentors. I'm a mentee, but basically those are the positives. When you realize people are investing in you and you have a future, they believe in you. And I think that that's really important because that's what I found in Columbus State. And that should help you propel forward to your future as something that happened to you in the past. And one of those things that happened here in Columbus State to me is I got scholarships from the Columbus Foundation is one of them. And it should show that, hey, they're investing in you. There's experience there. Like they know that you're gonna do something with your life. And that's one great thing I found in Columbus State Community College is they actually have scholarships from teachers giving to these scholarships from the college and trying to support the people here as students to, propel forward. So that should help you to go to your future, and I think it's great Columbus State Community College is doing that. Now the mediocre is like when things are just okay. But I believe that those times should also propel you to the future, because when things are just mediocre, do you really just want to stay there? Do you want to just live the mediocre life, or do you want to make a difference? And I think that should propel you, even though you feel like, hey, I'm okay. Like, I'm just going to chill here and do whatever I want. But what are you making of your life? You only have one life and in this world. So that's really important.
Thank you, Thyann. And, when Thyann and I talked in preparation for today, she shared with me that she wants to do something where the intersection of social media and dietetics and nutrition find a home. But I think there's also a place where you can insert inspiration and motivation into that digital presence you want to have, Thyann, because that was both and, motivational and inspirational. So thank you. So this all got started relatively innocently for you, right? So a simple in-class presentation served as the catalyst for really you being with us here today, going back to that Ali Dayhuff presentation right now, Ali Kurzawa. And had you made a different decision that day, right? Had you not chosen the path you chose, we may not be sitting here together. So talk to us about seizing the opportunity.
Yeah, I remember specifically that one day, it was during my CSC intro programming class, and I remember Ali Dayhuff kind of coming in and giving a little presentation, and she was handing out these flyers, or the ITFA program flyers essentially, and I was looking at it, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be qualified for this, right? It's like I'm still like a high school student and everything, so it's like I don't think I'm gonna make it. So I think after she left, the class continued obviously, and then after the class, I actually threw away that paper because I thought I wasn't qualified enough, or yeah. So then I went and attend my next class, and then as I was walking back to my car, this was near Delaware Hall, so I saw Allie walking around at the bottom there, and I asked her just a couple, and I just stopped her, and I was like, hey, I just asked her some questions that it was mostly like about my age because I wasn't old enough actually to participate in the program, but she's like, yeah, as long as you're 18 by the time you interview and everything, you should be good. So I think that opportunity I took, and like the kind of imposter syndrome that kind of David talked to me about a little bit before on the call here. It was, if I just like said like, oh, I'm not qualified for this job, but I still have that fear in my mind, and maybe like things would not ended up the way they are today. Maybe I'm not. Maybe today I won't be sitting here and talking to you guys. So.
Yeah, it's about recognizing and being ready for that opportunity when it presents itself, right on?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Khalida. Khalida, you immigrated to the U.S. from Algeria about 11 years ago. And communication, grasping the English language, these are just a few of the things that you were challenged with upon arrival here in this country. Can you talk about how you persevered and overcame the language barrier to arrive at this point today?
Yeah, sure. As you said, I immigrated 11 years ago, and when I came here, actually, I speak English. I only spoke like very, very, very few words. I speak other 3 languages, but I didn't speak English. So in the first year, I didn't go to school because I had to work. I had to pay my bills and help my family overseas. And then the second year, I joined at that time I was actually in Philadelphia. So I joined Philadelphia College. I started taking ESL classes. But I'm sorry, I didn't say, before I joined, actually, I was studying by myself at home. And then when I go to my work, I wasn't shy to ask my coworkers for any word and I didn't understand, or my managers. They were so helpful. And then, going back to college, like I said, I started in Philadelphia. But when I moved here to Columbus, I joined Columbus State Community College, where I continued my classes. My ESL classes. Here at Columbus State, I really found all the people I found here from the workers, from my teammates or classmates. They were very, very helpful. They were ready to help me in any aspect of my life. They just not helped me to master English, but to reach my goals, where one of my goals actually, which being finishing my school and graduating in IT and working in the IT actually. So thank you for all of you here in Columbus State.
Thank you, Khalida.
You're welcome.
Michael, so this is a little off script, but it's apropos that we'd be here because this is where we first met. Yep. Not like right here in this, right on the stage, but we were here in this room sitting over a table over there, maybe started. About 2.5 years ago. I had just started. I had been here like a couple of weeks. And I thought, wow, what a privilege again it is to sit next to one of our amazing students, now graduates. So Michael, a theme of the discussion up to this point has really been about opportunity. You've spoken about what it means to be ready for that matter, not ready for opportunity when it comes your way. Can you talk about your experience with being ready for opportunity when it presented itself?
Yeah. So originally, I'm from Cleveland. I moved down here because I was looking for a change and I didn't really have a whole lot going on. And so I just needed a path. I didn't know where that path was going to take me, where I was going to go, how I was going to get there. I just needed to start something. And so that eventually led me here to Columbus State. Now, I came here and I didn't know what I wanted to do for college. I didn't know what I wanted to do for a career. I didn't know even who I was at that point. But I just, again, was looking for some opportunity to get on some path to go somewhere. And so while I was here, I was able to find some different experiences and different opportunities that helped open other doors to other opportunities. So there's that saying that goes, if opportunity knocks, open the door. And sometimes it's hard to find those opportunities, so you got to kind of make your own door. And so while I'm here, I joined as many organizations as I could while trying to balance, the working to pay my bills and eventually working at the school. And so the first opportunity I really had to get involved was at a high school. I went to a high school and I made some foam with kids for the STEM club. And that eventually trickled into many, many more opportunities to get more involved with the club, get more involved with the school. And ultimately, I started getting scholarships, internships, meeting great people like David and other professors around here. And it's just totally changed my path in life. So you're not always going to be ready for opportunities. Sometimes you might not even recognize them, but ultimately, you just got to go for it, and you'll get somewhere.
Michael, thank you. I want to stick with you here for a moment, pose a follow-up question to you. So having a sense of direction, setting goals, all very important, helping to navigate both the present and the future. Can you talk about what it meant for you to both have a sense of direction and have clear goals for yourself?
Yeah, so, originally the only goal I had was to be better than I was. And so I wanted to finish school. I wanted to go to school. I started at 21. I wanted to go to college. And if I were to go to college and get a degree, hopefully I'd end up somewhere good. And that was the goal. Didn't really have anything specific. It's just, all right, this is where I'm going to go. And in that time, you kind of just set like smaller goals along the way. And it at the end of the day, I've had a million goals. I've reached some of them and some of them have eluded me. But at the end of the day, my direction of wanting to get my degree, wanting to be better, wanting to, do something has led me down the path that I'm at. So your goals will change and even your direction will change. But if you kind of say, hey, I'm going to aim for the stars, right? I'm going to aim for the sun, the moon, whatever. Like even if you don't hit the targets like dead on, you're still going to end up somewhere far beyond where you started. So I think I'm an example of this, and we all are. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Michael. Kalita, you work in information technology. You're a software developer.
Yeah.
So we hear about these things, right? We hear about IT, we hear about cybersecurity, software developer, network administration, and those are like a bunch of words. What do they mean, right? So tell us about what you do in IT, what drew you to software development. A little bit about day in the life of working at Accenture.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to start from really maybe 15 years ago when I was like you guys in school. I knew at that time I wanted to pursue a degree in IT, but unfortunately at the time, in my home country, as it was at that, it's still an undeveloped country. I didn't have access to computers. I just know there's computers, there's something, but I didn't understand it. So at that time, I didn't believe in myself. I was like, oh, it's something difficult. I don't think I can do it. So I just pursued a degree in business management, and I got a bachelor's degree there. When I moved here to the States, as I told you before, I didn't speak English, so I had to study English first. When I was ready, I felt like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm good enough in English to understand the courses. I wanted to go back to school. Again, I didn't believe in myself. I went for classes in medical. And then after that, like maybe after taking 2 semesters, I was like, no, I can do it. So I actually transferred the classes I took in medical field. That was here actually at Columbus State. And I started my first classes here at Columbus State. And the professor that I had, and maybe if I didn't have that good professor, maybe I'm gonna quit again. But he was very helpful, and he showed me that, hey, you can do it. So today, with the help of all professors in Columbus State, not just in the courses, but they helped me even getting my resumes ready. I get the internship or the apprenticeship program. I worked on the IT field first at State Auto. My journey there was really good. I was ready by the classes that I took here at Columbus State. They were the foundation that helped me to learn more skills at State Auto and get more skills there too. So I was learning and working at the same time. Just to sum up this, so my journey in IT was really great with the motivation I had and the help at Columbus State and State Auto. Now I am full-time like working in IT at Accenture. So whatever dream you have, please pursue it. I'm sure you're gonna get it.
So Khalid, I want to stick with you just for a moment. So Accenture is this big global firm, and there may be folks in the room who have never heard of Accenture. So
Oh, yeah.
What is the work that Accenture does? And you may be on a client project now, I don't know, so you may be restricted as to what you can talk about. But tell us a little bit more about the work you do.
Yes. So I'm not a client yet, but I'm working on a internal project. So what we do is basically we solve problems. Those problems we solve. We help customers, clients, we help actually you guys. It depends what field. Specifically, the project I'm working on, it's about Accenture workers. They are actually because it's actually a global company. It's everywhere in the world. So the application we're working on, the Accenture employees in Europe use it, and we needed to improve their customer service there. They had so many, for example, calls they take, but we needed to minimize those calls, and so to do that, we had to make improvement to the applications.
Yeah. So technology as the solution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Graduate high school during the pandemic. Transitioned from high school to Columbus State full-time during the pandemic. Started your apprenticeship at State Auto during the pandemic, and transitioned from Columbus State to OSU, all during the pandemic, right? What was that like, and where did you find support along the way? Because that was a journey for sure, and that's just been in the last 18 months or so, right? So walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of time uncertainty. Obviously, I'm sitting at home, but it's there's just a lot of stuff that I need to look at. For example, one of the biggest things I looked at was transfer credit. That was a very huge factor of how I wanted to transfer to OSU. And I found a lot of support actually through my work. A lot of my coworkers and higher up associates were they have done this before. So they kind of guided me towards that, how I should take classes or how should I transfer there. But overall, it was a pretty straight path. Another form of support I actually found was through the faculty here. Again, everybody, I feel like a lot of faculty member here, a lot of professors have done something very similar like this. So I literally just went up to one of my professors and I was like, hey, I'm thinking of finishing up this class. I'm thinking of finishing up my degree in software development, and I want to transfer to OSU. How should I do this? It was just very simple questions, really. It was, and then they kind of guided me. It's okay, you should go to this website. You should go reach out to these people. So again, yeah. So some of the faculty members were really good, and my family as well was very supportive. I feel like I was in a little bit of a cross paths between my apprenticeship, if I want to go full time, because State Auto was willing to offer me that full time position, but I think my family kind of convinced me to say let's still continue that bachelor's degree and kind of finish everything off right there. So I think a lot of support from my family was into this transfer kind of thing I did here. And then another form of support was actually some of my friends who were at OSU at that time, and they kind of guided me again because they're in very similar programs than what I'm doing. So they kind of guided me towards also what classes I should be taking and what classes will transfer over and will not. So it was kind of like a mixture of family, friends, faculty, a lot of coworkers. So
And Ohm, what I really heard you speak to was options.
yeah,
Right? You had options, and it sounded like you felt comfortable that you were in the driver's seat to select which option to pursue, right? So I'm going to ask a follow-up question of Thyann and Harvey both, and then we're coming to the audience. All right? So get those questions ready. So Thyann, one of the things you talked about earlier were things not going as planned, and sometimes people might refer to those as failures, right? I never heard you say that word, which is very important. I never heard you say that word. But falling short of your expectations, where did, and because I know you have an example that you want to refer to maybe, but where did the strength to persevere really originate from as you found yourself up against those situations where it just wasn't going as you had planned?
When things don't really seem like they're going as planned, well, perseverance to me it's a mindset and a mentality. But when that mindset and mentality is hard to get, that's when a lot of other things would come into play, which is your commitment towards this goal or aspiration that you may have. But when that mindset mentality that you're having a difficulty with is happening to you, I suggest that you be kind to yourself, because you're the only person that you're going to be with all your life. So you're going to live with yourself. So you got to be kind to yourself. Think about, doing what you need to do, and then reevaluate everything from there. So basically, perseverance is mentality and mindset.
You talked about extending grace, right? A lot of times we talk about extending grace to other people, and it's really important that we extend grace to ourselves, right? Yeah. Absolutely. So Harvey, part of one of the themes that you talked about was fear of the unknown, right? So for a lot of people, fear of the unknown can serve as a real barrier that is seemingly impossible to overcome. What words of advice would you share with those that maybe are experiencing a fear of the unknown? What comes next?
I think the biggest thing I can think about that helps you overcome that fear is to have a clear goal in mind. Because once you have a goal, then you have something that you can shoot for. So for me, like I said, with my journey to Columbus State, I knew that if I was going to take my time and my money and invest in a curriculum and take the effort to better myself and try to plot out a future for myself, I wanted to know that I had employable skills to come out of it. And so that was my goal that I shot for, and I had no, even when I picked Columbus State, I had no idea how I was going to go about doing that. But because that was my overall goal, I knew, like, as I was looking around and finding things that would help me achieve that goal, it made the journey a lot easier. So, like I said, with the tour, when I took a tour of Columbus State, I went through the machine shop. So I was looking at things that spoke to my own interests, so I knew that mechanical engineering technology, that degree here, was what fit me. It's what really stood out and spoke to me. And then finding out about the Modern Manufacturing Work-Study Program, which obviously is paired with the employers here and providing internship opportunities, it all aligned with my goal. And throughout every single one of those processes, meeting faculty and supervisors and everything over the course of the tour, and then getting involved with the Modern Manufacturing Work-Study Program and being involved in that program and having help every step of the way through it, I didn't have to do any of the hard work alone, because that's where you really get bogged down when you're trying to answer all of life's questions on your own. If work, school, health, if anything kind of becomes overwhelming, it slows you down. And if you don't have any support to help guide you along through the next steps you need to go through, you can kind of stop. And once you stop, then you're not heading towards your goal, and then you can kind of take time out. But always having a goal in mind, and then having support structures, whether it's friends, family, faculty, or anything like that, that's along the way with you, that helps carry you along to your goal, so you're never relying solely on your own energy and your own efforts, because that runs out real quick sometimes, depending on what's going on in life.
Okay. Thank you, Harvey. Okay, we're ready to take questions from audience members.
I think we have an equal opportunity. Actually, I'm a student ambassador for SEI, which stands for Student Engagement and Inclusion, we are very diverse people, and we take care of each other. We're a mixture of people, actually, as student ambassadors, and I've seen it firsthand on how we're all like have equal opportunity for each other.
Others?
Yeah, I second that. So as an immigrant, like as I said earlier, I didn't speak English, so, but I didn't feel like I was different with anybody here at Columbus State. Actually, like I said, they helped me to reach my goals, so there is no difference with anybody. We're here all equal.
Yep, I third that. Definitely an equal opportunity. I think what it boils down to is we all kind of have just different experiences, like growing up in life, that we bring to the table. And so there are some programs that are here that, like, you know, LSAMP is for, you know, minority people to help kind of get the foot in the door in, you know, certain areas of STEM. So there's opportunities to help us as well. But I don't feel like there's any sort of competition.
Anyone else on that particular question?
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I'd add to that is, I mean, going on the lines of what everybody else said, that's the environment that's here. Everybody's here to better themselves and to make a better life for themselves. So you'll have opportunities and clubs and a bunch of other things to get involved with here. And then, like I said, depending on what program you get involved in, if it's some type of internship like what I was involved in, the employers throughout Columbus will come here and they'll speak to you. I mean, it's a unique opportunity because I can't think of another situation where the employers come to you and they come here to see you. They come here to see you and to talk to you and find out what skills you've learned and talk to you about their company and talk to you about how you can help them. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here.